guy is sitting in a bar. A beautiful woman walks in. She's in knockout, and he can't take his eyes off her. She notices him and smiles. She sashays over and sits beside him. She looks into his eye and tells him, "For $200, I'll do anything you want." He's astounded. "Anything?" he asks her. "Yes, anything," she replies. He takes out his wallet and slaps $200 on the bar. "Here's $200. Paid my house." A teenage girl comes home from school and asks her mother, "Is it true what Rita just told me? That babies come out of the same place where boys put their dicks?" "Yes, dear," replies her mother, pleased that the subject has finally come up and she won't have to explain it to her daughter. "But when a baby's actually born," responded the teenager, "how does it get past your teeth?" Manager hired a new secretary. She was young, sweet, and polite. One day while taking dictation, she noticed his fly was open. While leaving the room, she courteously said, "Oh, sir, did you know that your barracks door was open?" He did not understand her remark, but later on happened to look down and saw that his zipper was open. He decided to have some fun with his new employee. Calling her in, he asked, "By the way, Miss Jones, when you saw my barracks door open this morning, did you also see a soldier standing to attention?" The secretary, who was very witty, replied, "Why no, sir. All I saw was a little disabled veteran sitting on 2 duffel bags." How to impress a woman. Compliment her, cuddle her, kiss her, care for her, love her, tease her, comfort her, protect her, hug her, hold her, spend money on her, wine and dine her, care for her, stand by her, support her, go the end of the earth for her. Buy Valentine's gift for her, always remember your wedding dates, give her attention, give her a massage, take her out on fancy restaurants and treat her like she's the only queen in the world. How to impress a man. Go up to him without clothes. 3 women were sitting around talking about their husband's performance as a lover. The first woman says, "My husband works as a marriage counselor. He always buys me flowers and chocolate before we make love. I like that." The second woman says, "My husband is a motorcycle mechanic. He likes to play rough and slaps me around sometimes. I kinda like that." The third woman just shakes her head and says, "My husband works for Microsoft. He just sits on the edge of the bed and tells me how great it's going to be when I get it." A man walks into a bar and says, "Give me a beer." The bartender says, "Seems as though you've got a major stuttering problem." The man replies, No kidding." The bartender says, "I used to stutter, but my wife cured me. One afternoon, she gave me oral sex 3 times in a row, and I haven't stuttered since." The man says, well, that's great to know." A week later, the same man walks into the bar and says, Give me a beer." The bartender says, "Why didn't you try what I told you?" "I did," said the man. But I must say, you have a really nice apartment." An attractive young woman had finished taking golf lessons from the club pro. She had just started playing her first round of golf when she got a bee sting. The pain was so intense she decided to return to the clubhouse. Her golf pro saw her come into the clubhouse and asked, "Why are you back so early? What's wrong?" "I was stung by a bee," was her reply. "Where?" he asked. "Between the first and second hole." He nodded knowingly and said, "Then your stance is too wide." couple is working in the garden and the wife goes to take a shower. Her husband is looking for a rake and can't find it. He yells up to his wife, but she motions to him from the window that she can't hear. So he points to his eye, hits his knee, and then makes raking motions. I need the rake. She replies by pointing to her eye, grabbing her left breast, slapping her butt, then rubbing her crotch. The man is confused and runs upstairs. What was that? The woman said, I left it behind the bush. Once, there was a little boy who was curious about what a club was like. So one day he decided to sneak into one. Once inside, he watched as the strippers danced. He watched until they started taking off their clothes. That's when he bolted out the door and started running down the street and into a man. The man asked the boy, "What's wrong, young man? You look like you just saw a ghost." The little boy replied, "My mommy and daddy told me that if I ever watched anybody undress, I'd turn to stone. And all of a sudden, I felt something go hard." A blonde and a brunette walk into a bar. As they sit down, the brunette notices a guy checking out the blonde. So the brunette decides to go and talk to this guy. She walks up to him and says, "I see you've been checking out my friend. You know, the blonde sitting over there, she's pretty, isn't she?" The guy responds, "Oh man, she's just gorgeous, absolutely beautiful." The brunette says, "Well, for $50 I can arrange for you to smell her crotch." The guy says, "Well, yes, of course." He pulls out the money and hands it to her. She takes it and breathes in his face. Three priests were taking a shower together in a church. They ran out of soap. Thinking the church was empty, one walked down the hall to the supply closet. Halfway back, the naked priest saw three nuns walking towards him. He immediately froze and pretended to be a statue. The first nun took one look and said, "What a realistic looking statue." The second nun reached and felt the priest's dick, and he dropped the bar of soap. "Wow, a dispenser," she exclaimed. The third nun reached over, pulled on his dick, and said, "Hand cream too." It's a beautiful warm spring day, and a man and his wife are at the zoo. She's wearing a cute, loose-fitting, sleeveless pink string dress with straps. As they walk through the ape exhibit and pass in front of a very large gorilla, the gorilla goes ape. He jumps up on the bars, holding on the one hand and 2 feet, grunting and pounding his chest with the free hand. He's obviously excited at the pretty lady in the wavy dress. The husband notices his excitement and suggests that his wife tease the poor fellow. The husband suggests she pucker her lips, wiggle her bottom, and play along. She does, and Mr. Gorilla gets even more excited, making noises that would wake the dead. Then the husband suggests that she let one of her straps fall. She does, and Mr. Gorilla is just about to tear the bars down. "Now try lifting your dress up your thighs," the husband says. This drives the gorilla absolutely crazy. Suddenly the husband grabs his wife by the hair, rips open the door to the cage, slings her in with the gorilla and says, "Now tell him you have a headache." A young man is starting his first ever job at a morgue. The boss of the morgue thinks, "I'll throw him in the deep end on the first day. Give him a real challenge." So he takes the young man to the door and he tells the young man, "Behind this door is a room with nothing in, apart from a dead old woman lying completely naked on a slab. You have to go in and inspect her body." "Inspect her body?" the young man asks. "Yes," replies the boss. "Check if everything is okay." So the young man goes through the door into the room, and the boss waits outside. After what seems like a very long time, the young man comes out of the room. Everything okay? Asks the boss. Yes, answered the young man. Except one thing. She's got a prawn stuck up her pussy. She's got a prawn stuck up her pussy? Exclaims the boss, astonished. Yes, replies the young man. The boss decides he has to go in and check this out. So he goes into the room and the young man waits outside. The boss quickly returns and the young man says, "See, I told you. That's not a prawn, that's her clitoris," explains the boss. "Well, it tasted like a prawn," answered the young man.